Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday afternoon. I hope you're ready to paint. Welcome to my studio. I am so excited for you to paint this one today. It's going to be a fun one. I really enjoyed painting it. Now, I have to tell you, this one was taken from a photograph from Pixabay, but when I went to search for the photo to link it below the video here, I could not find it anywhere, but I saved it in my Pixabay file. When I see a photo in there that I maybe want to try and paint, I'll save it to that file folder, but I could not for the life of me find that picture. So I couldn't link where I got it exactly in Pixabay below here because I couldn't find it. I could have gotten it off of Pexels or Unsplash or someplace else, but it was in my Pixabay folder, and there are several photographs on Pixabay that are the same type of photograph. So I'm thinking it's on there somewhere. I just didn't search long enough to find it, and I even had the photograph number, but I didn't write down the name of the person that took it, so I couldn't even search for their stuff. So anyway, I think it's going to be a really fun one, a nice manly kind of painting to do today, and it's going to be pretty easy. Silhouettes are basically pretty easy paintings to do today. So let's take a look. Hello, Terry, Rosanna, Jean, Anne, Brenda. Thank you all for being here. Anne, seems like you've been waiting for this one forever. Yeah, it's going to be a popular one, I think. I had quite a few people that went and got the line drawing, so I'm hoping that we'll have a lot of people painting with us. It's going to be really, really fun. While we wait on a few others to come in, next Sunday, let me see what I have set up to teach next Sunday. Okay. All right, so I just put the packet for this on my website today, and we're going to paint this next Sunday, my leaf color wheel. This is on a 8x8 wood canvas, gallery wrap canvas, but I'm going to be painting it on a 6x6 because it would take us a long time to paint on an 8x8. So that's what we're going to be doing next Sunday. I put the packet up. This packet, it's only $5. It has the step-by-step written instructions in there. There's no step-by-step photos. There's a photo of how I got the basic paint on and the base coats and then the finished piece. So there are 3 photos in with this one and the line drawing, but it has 2 pages of written instructions how I did each leaf. So that's why it's only $5 instead of my normal $8, because I didn't put step-by-step photos in. With this one, it would have taken so many pages to do step-by-steps with these leaves, and so I decided to just cut it down to that, and you can watch me paint it live, so if you have any questions, but the instructions, written instructions, are right there in that packet. So if you want to paint the color wheel with me, I put it up on my website today, lonnalamb.com, so head over there and grab that. Hi, Sue from Ontario. I'm so glad to have you here. You guys, this one's going to be so much fun. Of course, I think all my paintings are fun. I love creating them. I love teaching them. It's so much fun. This one here I just finished yesterday, the day before yesterday, my teacup here with the lemon in it. So I've posted that on Facebook, and you can check that out. I'll probably be making it a class of some kind. I'm not sure what kind, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and my penguin may become a class as well, maybe a Zoom class, maybe a class for something else, but we'll see. Those 2 are really very enjoyable for me because I really like painting in realistic style. So I like doing the cute stuff too, but my heart is for the more realism. So hi, Don. Thank you so much for being here today. So I'm going to put myself a little up in the corner here, and we are going to, since I can make myself, there we go, up here, and we're going to be showing you, I'm going to be showing you all the supplies you're going to need for this project today. This fun little project. So yeah, he's going to be great fun. So easy to paint, you guys. We don't need a lot of stuff to paint this one. So, but what you will need is a T-square to mark a line off for our horizon, or a ruler. You don't have to have a T-square, just something that you can mark off with. And my paintbrushes are very few. I have a 1 round. I think in my paint list in my packet, or in the listing with the line drawing, I list a 6 chisel blender. I could not find my 6, so I grabbed an 8. I don't even know if I'll be using that, but we'll see. I've got a 1/2 inch angle, a 3/8 inch stencil brush, and I said a 1 inch encaustic brush. You can use whatever kind of foliage brush that you like to use, but I like to use these. This one's actually a 3/4 inch is what I think I will use today. And this is the set that they come in. They come in 1 inch, 3/4, and 1/2 inch from the Brush Guys. These are a Dynasty brush, encaustic brushes. They're a little bit stiffer bristled brush. Very nice brush. I really like these. They clean up easily, so they are a really good brush to have. So, but they come in a set of 3 at the Brush Guys, and the Brush Guys are linked below. It's a Dynasty brush, so if you just type in Dynasty or encaustic, encaustic is spelled E-N-C-A-U-S-T-I-C by Dynasty, and you can check those out. Okay, we're also going to need a sponge, because this is what we use to paint the sky in with. Okay, I've got gloves just because I don't want to take the time to wash my hands after, so I'm going to wear gloves when I paint my sky in. You'll need your surface. I'm on an 8x10, so you'll need whatever surface you're painting on. Gray and white graphite. We'll need both of these today. Okay, your line drawing. Okay, and we'll need a stencil, a circle stencil, but you don't have to have this. You can just paint a circle in. This is for the sun. You do not have to have a circle stencil if you do not have one. Your water basin, your paper towels, misting bottle, some tape, Scotch tape to tape down our line drawing, so we make sure we get it nice and straight. We don't want it moving. When we put that guy on the horse, he really needs to be straight. We don't want him to be crooked in any way, and I probably guarantee that my line drawing in that packet is probably not straight up and down. So yeah, and I just noticed I didn't change the name in the packet. It still has Simplicity on it, so there you go. But yeah, I guarantee he's not straight, so we're going to draw a little line and make sure he gets on there straight as can be. Okay. Brenda, you really love the tea design. Me too. I thoroughly enjoyed painting that. So much fun. And Sue, 2 of my favorite horses and silhouettes. Well, good. This is perfect for you. I'm really wanting to, I am not an animal painter, but I have this beautiful round wooden frame that I've had for years that has little horseshoes on it, and it's a really cool old frame, and I really want to paint a horse to go inside of that, but I am terrified of painting real-life animals. So I have not painted one yet. I've looked at lots of pictures to paint horses, but I haven't done it yet. That's probably one of my biggest weaknesses, is painting real-life animals, or painting animals, even fun little animals. I'm just not there. I'm just not there. Okay, let's go over our paint supply. We're going to be using Deco Art Americana paints. I've got plum suede and graphite and lamp black and snow white, not very many colors, bright yellow. I think on my packet I actually typed right yellow, or on my line drawing I printed right yellow, but I did have the correct number for the paint. So if you were looking for it by the paint, there's no right yellow in Deco Art. It's bright yellow, golden yellow, and warm sunset. So those are our colors. Not a lot here. I did say our misting bottle, I think. Paper towels. And you might need a chalk pencil or something to draw on your surface to make a straight line for your horse and rider when we put them on. And a pencil. We'll need this to add our line on to begin with. So this was my original one that I painted here. And I made the sky really kind of soft looking, almost peachy colored. In front of me it looks more peachy color. I don't know how it looks on your monitor. And then I painted it again, and I did it a little bit more brighter yellows and brighter oranges, and I really like both of them because I love the sunset look. I like how it looks like there's a little bit of cloud stuff going on in the back. So really it depends on you. By what you like, you'll just add a little bit more white to your paint when we get ready to do that, and that will give it that little bit more of a peachy orange color. If you want it to stay more bright, we're going to use more pure paints here. I did add a shadow here on this one. My sun's not low enough, or I didn't bring my horizon line up high enough, one of the two. But I did add a shadow on the one that I painted the other day, just to practice it, make sure I had it down. And this one I didn't. So we will be adding a shadow because I feel like it needs it, and that really helped make it look a little bit better there. So we'll definitely be doing that. So I'm going to set this where I can hopefully see it. And it won't fall down, but that's probably not going to work there. So hopefully I can recreate that. So I've got my surface here. I am painting on a wood surface. Like I said, it's 8 by 10, and it's just the back of my Simplicity one that I did a couple of weeks ago. I really need to start selling some of these that I've painted up because I'm running out of places to store a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to put my gloves on, and we're going to get ready to work on the background here in a minute. I need to draw a horizon line real quick. So I'm going to measure up 2.5 inches from the bottom and put a mark. And now I'm just going to draw a light line across here. It doesn't have to be super dark, so don't go wild with your line here. Just a light line. I'll probably draw it a little bit darker just so you guys can see it. I'm going to keep my ruler for later because I will need it when we get ready to add the horse on. So this is going to be our horizon line. Okay, so let's put some colors out on our palette, and let's just get to this sky. We're going to have white and our bright yellow, our golden yellow, or warm sunset. We're going to have all those colors. That's the bright yellow. Well, I guess I should put my palette camera up on the screen, huh? That might help you guys out. Grab a palette knife. I have one in there. I got a chunky something in my paint. Move that out of there because I don't want that getting in my sponge. Let me put my palette cam up for you guys. You probably would like to see that, huh? Alright. There's what we're painting. Alright, my palette's crooked. Get it in the camera shot so you can see the whole thing there. Alright, warm sunset. That's the other color we need. Alright, any questions at all, just post them on there. I'll be watching for them. So that's our warm sunset, and we can always add more paint if we need it. Alright, we're going to grab a paper towel. So we're going to take our sponge here. I've had it soaking in water because you want your sponge to be damp. I know I've said this many times on many of my videos, but a damp sponge releases the paint. It doesn't soak it up in there and just keep it all for itself. So we need a damp sponge. So I let it soak in water. Normally I just go to my sink and fill it completely full and then squeeze it out, and then I'll come to my paper towel and get the excess out. We want it to be wet. We don't want it to be dripping because that's going to thin your paint and you'll just fight with your paint with that. Okay? All right, so let's grab some paint and start painting here. We're going to get some white and some bright yellow. And we don't need to tape this horizon line off. There's no need whatsoever. We're just going to start adding some underlaying of yellows in here first. This is just a little bit of white, the bright yellow, and the golden yellow. So we're going to put that in here first. Okay? Super easy. Don't stress about it. It's okay if you go over that line. We're going to be painting stuff below it. It's going to be fine. So let's dry it, and then we'll put our next coat on, and that's when we're going to add our orange in there. You can do this sky as many times as you want to. You get it like you want. You can use any kind of sponge. You can use a brush. But a brush, I tried the brush, but it just took me way too long, and I didn't like the way it was blending. So I decided a sponge was the tool to use. All right, make sure that's dry. We also want to make sure it's not hot. Something in my paint. All right, so I'm going to go back to that white and bright yellow. And we're going to put that right here. This is going to be our light area here. Okay, maybe a little bit more white in there. Some of that paint off. I do have a lot on my brush here. Bring that up just a little bit. Just a little swirling motion. We'll smooth all this out, not to worry. I'm going to go to, actually I think I'll go to this area right here and pick up that darker yellow because I want to save this area for the orange. So I'm going to pick up that golden yellow and I'm going to bring that in. And kind of work it around, circular motions. I'm not worried so much about how it's blending right now. Just getting the paint on here. Now I'm going to pick up my orange. And we're going to start adding that in. Wherever you want it. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to go to the opposite side of my sponge. And very lightly, I'm going to start blending this. I'm using very, very gentle pressure. I am not pushing on this sponge, but it's important that your paint is still wet. My yellow is starting to dry right there, so I'm going to grab a little bit more white and yellow and put some of that in. So that bright, bright yellow. Go back to the other side of my sponge, and I'm going to very gently blend that out. Very, very gently. Now if your paint starts drying, this was starting to dry over here, I'm going to put a little bit more orange back in there. If your paint starts drying, you're going to lift your paint. So if it starts lifting, you need to get out of it and just let it be. Right there, it's starting to dry. I need to put a little more light color in there. I'm going to tap that in instead of swirling because my paint was drying there and I don't want to lift. If I start swirling, oh man, I'm really going to lift that paint. Okay. Gentle little tapping. We're not scrubbing and we're not washing something. So yeah, just be gentle with your sky. No need to be rough. So I'm just gently tapping a little bit of orange back in that area. Felt like it needed it. I think that sky looks awesome. What do you guys think? Super cool, super easy. Now, you can bring in more white here and make it a little bit brighter, but I'm going to wait till after I put my sun in because if I feel like it needs more back in there, I'll add it. But I think the sun is going to make all the difference when we get ready to paint that. So I'm done with my sponge. I'm going to stick it down in my water so that all that paint won't dry in there. That's how you keep your sponges from becoming ruined. They have to go in water or be washed immediately. And since I can't go wash mine right this moment, it's going in a bowl of water. And I'm going to set that over here out of the way. maybe. Okay, let's grab my easel. I'm going to get this up here on our easel. This really is a pretty fast project, you guys. It's not really going to take a long time. I think what takes the longest is painting in the guy on the horse, because we have to outline him first before we can actually apply paint. So let's get this dry. Make sure it's dry and make sure it's cool. Okay, let's put our sun on here. Now, I used a circle template, and like I said, you don't need one. You can just draw a circle and paint it in. So, can I suggest an alternate or a mix for plum suede? Okay, so plum suede is just like a dirty purple color. Let's see. If you have frosted plum, you could use that. Maybe add a tiny little bit of soft black to it. It would get it close. Or if you have like a morning, I think it's morning mist. That's a really soft purple color in Americana. And you could add a little bit of a brighter purple, or what color is that? That new purple that they have. Let me just grab some paints here and we'll see if we can't. So this is frosted plum and this is plum suede. So you can see this is like a dirty purple color. So you could take like your morning mist and add maybe plum suede to it. Maybe, I don't know, that might be too bright. So these are a couple of muted colors. You could probably get close, and then a little tiny bit of soft black or some asphaltum or something in there might get it pretty close to that color. It's just a soft purple that we're putting in the sky for some clouds. So you can really be creative there and choose any color that is appealing to you. Now, if at any time you're ever wanting to test a color on your project, I recommend that you varnish the area. So you would varnish the whole sky with a matte varnish, and then try the color on there. And if you don't like it, you can take a baby wipe or a wet rag and remove it, and you won't remove the paint underneath because you've already sealed it. Okay, so that's a good tip right there to have. All right. Yes, that is a great way to blend with a sponge. It's so easy and it's so fast. You just have to remember that moisture must be in your sponge, and you need to use gentle pressure. You're not scrubbing it in. If you're painting on a canvas, you always feel like you have to scrub it in. So that's why you put a coat on first of the yellows, so you don't feel like you have to scrub your paint into the canvas. So if you're using a canvas, sometimes it feels like you have to scrub. Okay, I want to bring my circle over about 3.5 inches. So let me get a pencil. So I'm going to put a little mark right there. That's my 3.5 inch mark. And I'm going to use a 1 1/4 inch circle. And I want my circle to be right at that mark, that 3.5 mark that I put there. I'm going to go ahead and take my stencil down because I don't want it to move. Put a little tape on there. Hold that in place. We'll be using our ruler later, so we can set that aside for now. All right, I need to put some more white out. And my sun, I have it dropped just below my horizon line. You can have it even with the horizon line, that's fine. But when we do our distant hills or whatever back there, we need to make sure we come up on the sun just a little bit. All right. Hi, Judy. Good to have you here. So I'm going to load my stencil brush up with my white, and we're going to tap in our sun right here. Okay, I'm going to want a couple of layers to make it a nice bright white sun. So I'll give that a quick little drying to set it. Alright, and then we'll do a second layer. Okay, there's our sun. Nice bright sun right there. So far everything's easy, right? I try to make some easy ones for you guys. So I don't want you to stress out. I'm going to dry that because I want to put a little bit of yellow on top of it. Now you can use bright yellow or you can use golden yellow at this point. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to be using my stencil brush here in a minute to put our horizon stuff in. So just grab one of your yellows, whichever one, or both. Mix them together, it doesn't matter. Just a small little amount of paint. Nothing big. And we're going to put a little bit of this across the top. You can put some at the bottom, but we really won't see that probably. And then if you want your sky to be a little bit more yellow, you can take your bright yellow. I'm going to get some water out on my palette. Missed my palette there. And you can take your bright yellow or your golden yellow, mix them together, whatever you want to do. The bright yellow is a little bit more transparent, so if you're wanting more transparency, then I would say go with the bright yellow. And then you can just come out here and add a little, almost like wash of yellow out here, and that's going to brighten up the sky. Can you see the difference? Probably not. Probably not, because I'm putting yellow kind of on yellow. So you can just bring that out and add a little bit more yellow into the sky. You can cover the whole sky with this yellow if you want to. That's just going to give a little bit more brightness in there. Okay, let's grab our plum suede and put it out. Okay. We're going to just make a little cloudy area here. Got plum suede all over me. Okay, so we're going to put this little soft cloud stuff here, and then we're just going to put some illusion of cloud stuff up here. Really painting, it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. So I'm going to side load, but I want some water in there. I want it to be soft. I don't want my paint heavy or thick on my brush at all. I want it to be soft, and you just pick wherever you want to put some clouds in here. And I did not like make detail clouds or anything. I just kind of scumbled some stuff in there. If you need a mop brush, which I did not grab a mop brush either, boy, I wasn't prepared today. You can mop it if you feel like you get it too dark, and that will take it down and make that a little bit lighter. And then we're going to put this color up in the corner here. More paint, more water. And I'm just going to very messily let it come down. And I think I got way too much water, so let me wipe my brush off. Got a glare there. And just kind of bring it out and down. Now I'm going to take my mop brush and just settle it kind of all down in there. This will also remove a little bit of it, but it will bring it kind of all together. That gives a little cloudy area in there. You could bring more than one cloud, obviously, down through here if you want more. Just a little softness with the brush. Just don't get carried away. I just did a couple. I didn't really I didn't really feel like it needed a ton of stuff in there. The picture had a little bit of kind of purple cloudiness in it, but I felt like this was, I got that purple plum suede everywhere. I'm going to dampen this and take my finger and kind of smooth that out. I got kind of a hard line I didn't like. There we go. That looks so much better. So it's really a purpley color. I don't know how it looks on your screen. On my monitor screen, it just looks kind of a dirty color, almost a brown color, but it is a very soft purple. I mean, a very, very soft purple when you paint with it. Okay, so yeah, that looks good. All right, so we're going to work on, the next thing we're going to work on is back to our stencil brush. And we're going to take our white and our plum suede. I don't want you to have to get a lot of brushes out, so we're going to mix a light version of that plum suede. Okay, and we're just going to tap this all along our horizon line. We'll end up not seeing most of it over here, and it can be varying heights through here. It doesn't have to stay right on that line. Okay, don't feel like that line is telling you what to do. It's just a guide. Now my line's a little dark. I'll probably in through here have to go a couple of times because we'll be seeing this color. It won't all be covered up with our silhouette stuff, so we want to bring this down. I brought it down quite a ways because I wasn't sure how far down I was going to leave it exposed for us to see. So just bring it down. We'll be covering it up, most of it. There won't be a whole lot of it left to be seen. I know most of that's going to be dark and most of this over here is going to be dark, but through here we're going to see, and up through here we're going to see some. So I'll show you my painting here. So you see how we can see some of that back through there. So you see I brought it down quite a way, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. Right through there, I'm going to bring it down. Once we get everything painted in, it will determine. I just want to make sure that line that I drew in there is covered up in case I don't bring my dark colors up very high. So there we have our beginnings of our very far distant trees, hills, whatever. Whatever's back there. So we're done with our stencil brush. So far so easy, right? Yes, not a lot of steps. When you're doing a silhouette, it really is a fairly easy thing to paint in. Okay, so the next color we're going to, or colors we're going to work with is black and graphite. Now I mixed these colors when I used them so that my silhouette part, my grassy parts, were not straight black because I want to use more straight black for the rider. And so I wanted it to stand a little bit more forward. So we're going to use graphite and lamp black as our two colors here. And this is where we're going to start using the encaustic brush. Now I want to make sure this is dry. Okay, so there's no right or wrong to how you make your grassy areas. You can look at the photo that I gave you and try and replicate that as close as possible. I'll do my best to try and replicate. I'll set it here in front of me so that I can see it and try and replicate it as close as I can. First thing we're going to do though is, now you could grab a detail liner for this if you want to. I'm going to take a little bit of thinned paint here. And I'm going to add in some little, I don't want to say little, but some thin little tree branches. They're not really going to connect to anything. They're just going, oh, that's way too fat. We'll cover that up, don't worry. And you just want some stuff going on here that we can like make it look like there's some tree stuff going on back there. We'll put a few over here, and you may want to use a very fine detail brush because you want these to be pretty thin. Mine are not as thin as what I would like them to be, so you want them super thin because they are in the distant, and you don't have to do a lot to these, so don't, it's just a few lines in there, okay? Just a few simple little lines. All right, let's grab our encaustic brush now, and we're going to load up with these two paints. Now, if you have a set of these and you don't feel comfortable using a large one to do this part, grab the smaller 1/2 inch one, or if you're using some other kind of foliage brush, you might want to grab a smaller brush. So we're going to start, I'm going to be just on the corner of this and start tapping in some loose foliage. I'm going to work some of that into the brush. It's not wanting to let go of the paint. Okay, just right through here. Just start working in. I never can paint my trees the same twice. It just doesn't work out. And this brush is not wanting to do what I want it to do. I must not have used this one before because my other one I did not have these struggles. Okay, we've got one here. We do want a couple places on the tree that are a little bit thicker. And we're just going to tap this in down here. I'm going to bring some over this way a little bit, maybe a little bit heavier. There we go. And you can make your tree as tall as you want it to be. We're just creating an illusion in here, okay? Maybe some heavier leaves in just a few places, especially if you're not covering up a line that is not connecting to something. You kind of want to cover that up, so you might want to do that. Now, over here on these smaller trees, we just want a tiny little bit, and I probably should go to my smaller brush. These are so far distant that we're not going to see a lot of detail here. We're just kind of, there's something back there. I'm going to put a little bushy something beside it. I'm looking at the one that I painted to try and mimic it as best I can. But there is no painters that paint exactly the same 2 times. It just doesn't happen. Because, you know, we hold the brush different, we're feeling different, everything is different. So, all right, so we got our little distant stuff. That's not all that we're going to put in there for our loose leafy distant stuff, but that's a good start. So now we want to get a little bit heavier with our paint, and we're going to start building stuff up. And anytime I want to have a little bit of loose stuff coming off of it that's going to poke out, I'm going to turn my brush sideways and just very lightly dab that on there. All right, so we want to have this coming down through here and some stuff coming up here. All right, heavier stuff through here. You can bring this up as high as you want it. It's okay if you see background stuff. It's okay if you see part of the sky. It's okay if you see part of this purple stuff poking through. All right, and I am mixing my black and my charcoal. Okay, I'm not doing all of one color. All right, so I'm going to take that side to about there, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to come over here and work on this side. Okay, and I'm going to start again with a little bit of tapping over here. I want to see some of this purple stuff. So I think I'm going to start out, let me get those bristles off of there. I'm going to start out by making the shape of how I want this to go. It's going to come up through here. And we'll give that a good start right there. It may not end up staying shaped that way, but that's getting us going. Okay, so through here, we want to bring up some bushy stuff because we don't want to see that edge of that tree there. So we'll bring up a little bit through there. Keep tapping. This is going to leave a little bit of rough texture also in your painting, which is going to make it, you know, pretty interesting and a little bit more fun. All right, let's put some some loose stuff up through here. Okay. Anybody painting along? How are you doing? Okay, bring that up a little bit. We'll have a little bit of stuff going here, a little bit over here, and then we're going to tap more down through here, a little bit harder tapping. Get that going down through there. All right, I'm going to pick up both paints, and now I'm just going to go back and forth and paint this down through here. I have not used any water for this. I'm just using the graphite and the black. I'm actually going to bring this down a little bit lower. Okay, pick up a little bit more graphite and just lay that in. And then I'm going to take a look at it and see if my opening here is too wide. See what I need to do as far as this lower part. Okay, so for here I just want a little bit more like grassy stuff coming off of that. Maybe a little bit through here. But I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so when you get down here, if you have too much of a definite going this way as opposed to seeing that it's all a silhouette, then just kind of tap where the two meet, and that will gently blend them together, and you don't have to worry about that so much. I don't want to see any of my white background down here. I mean, we can through here a little bit because we have light coming through there, but over here this is really dark, so I might tap a little bit more black on this side just to get that darkness coming in over here a little bit more. And that's just pure black right through there. And I'll do a little bit on this side. Of just black. Okay, so you can see we can still see a little bit of the white underneath there, which is perfectly fine. It does not have to be completely covered up, and I think that looks pretty good. I'm liking that background. So this brush, you can continue with this brush, or you can grab the smaller one. What do I do with the smaller one? Or you can grab some other kind of stiff little brush. I think actually I might grab, I used this one for part of it, and then I came back with my round for part of it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So with this area here where we want it to look a little bit like rocks, and some of it will be highlighted from, you know, reflection on the sun, from the sun, you can use this brush and just the edge of it and tap. I did a little bit with this brush on my original, and then I came back with my round brush and finished it out. But on this side, I only used this brush, and I really like how that looks through there, how it looks more rocky. So those are your two options to do that with. We're going to be using our white and our graphite and our black to do that. Okay, so I'll try it with this brush. I think it might end up being too big, so I might have to go to a smaller one, but I'll give it a shot. I just painted this a couple of days ago, and I cannot for the life of me remember which size brush I used. So, okay, let me grab a little bit more white on my brush. Just mixing a little bit of white with the paint that's already on my brush. I'll try and zoom you in here. So we're just leaving some little spots on here, and I'm really just barely hitting on the tip of this brush. So that's why I say, if you don't feel like you can control a larger brush doing this, to maybe go to a small round, which will take you a little bit longer, but you'll still get a great effect. Or go to a little bit smaller scruffy type brush that you can do this with. And we're just going to do this all the way back through here and through here. We'll come in and add some black back in here, because we don't want it to all be this light color. We got to have some darkness in here. Now we can add some of this lighter color, like the sun is hitting here. We probably won't see a lot of this since we'll be putting our rider there, but you can put a little bit through here. It might peek out. I've got just a tiny bit of white, so maybe where the opening is for the path, maybe it's getting a little bit of some sun, so you can add a little bit of white. I did not add very much of this, but you could add some here and there. Just add some. You could even put some on your tree, but I didn't put any on my tree on the other one, but that is going to be definitely a personal preference. If you feel like your tree needs it, or your bushes, or whatever, you feel like they need it, then go for it. Add it in there. So I'm just going to put a little bit. I want the focal point to really remain the rider. So I'm not going to do a whole lot on my bushes. I mean, after I get him in, if I feel like, yeah, that's going to have a little bit of highlight, then we will do that. But let me wide angle out so you can kind of see it. So you can see I just put a little bit right there on that bush, which I'm pretty sure we won't see much of that bush when we put our rider in. He's going to cover that up. And then a little bit there. I just tapped a little bit more in there so maybe you could see it a little bit better. Could tap some down here and give the bush a little bit of more character. Okay. All right. So we do need some darker color back in here. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of black maybe over here on this edge of it. Just straight black. Like that on my brush a little bit. And we're going to tap some black in here. Now you should be able to see this black on top. I might have to bring my round brush in and do it so I can get you guys to see it a little bit better. You should be able to see the black on top. If you can't see it, it's probably because your color you put in through here is too dark. So just paint over it and redo it. It's not a big deal. Just paint back over it, mix a little bit more of the graphite in there, or you could even add a little bit of white to lighten it up, because this is the light area of the path. I like to dab them in and then kind of scrub my finger over them so they don't remain hard blobs. They remain just little illusions of some rocks. And I'll take these over into my dark area, although we may end up not seeing much because it's going to blend in with the dark, but you don't want just a stopping line of color. You know, you got to take it out and bring them together. Nothing should ever just stop. Well, except for our sun. It has a definite stop mark. But when you're doing something like this where you're bringing colors together, let's not have any hard start and stop areas. Okay, so we got a little bit of rock stuff going on. I'm going to go into my graphite and white and put a few more, maybe over this way. A little bit more white because I want a few of these to be a little bit more on top. The sun's hitting them a little bit more maybe. We can have these kind of going back more back this way, but tiny little specks. Let's not go crazy here. You can always wash over these with a little bit of graphite to tone them down. So I think that's got us a few little sparkly rocks. What do you guys think? Are you liking this? Is it coming along? Coming along for you? Let me wide angle out a little bit and see it all. Looking so good. Such a fast project, you guys. So fun. All right, so the part that's going to take us the longest is the rider. So we are going to make sure that this is dry. And we're going to grab our line drawing and our graphite. First, I want to put a line on my, where I want to put him so that I make sure he's straight. So, let's see how far up I brought him. I brought him up not quite 1 inch, looks like. So I'm going to bring up about 1 inch. And I'm just going to mark a line across there. Now with this pencil that I'm using, it will remove with water or paint, so I don't have to worry about being set in my project. So I'm just going to put a line right there. That way I know that my rider is going to be straight when we transfer him on. So set my rider on the line. Okay, now you determine how far over you want him to be this way. If you want to see that whole, if you want to see the whole path, you can move him over. If you don't want to see the whole path, this side I saw the whole path as well. His foot is barely into the sun there, and it's not even into the sun there. So totally your decision. Okay, so I think I'll put him right about there. You can see he is not straight on my, I printed this off from my line drawing that I scanned for you guys, and yeah, he's not straight. So put the line on there so you can make him straight. I guarantee us teachers and designers, we do not always get our line drawing straight. So you always have a ruler handy that you can check that out, okay? So I want my gray graphite up here in the light areas. So I'm going to lay that under there. This is new graphite. I've not ever used this brand before. So it's got a shiny side and a dull side. And the shiny side should be down. And the dull side up. Okay. All right, let's trace this guy. We need all the lines that are on the line drawing. So don't leave any of them off. Like these little lines inside here, they are important. So don't leave them off. This is his tail, comes out over here. All the lines are important. Now the rope lines, not necessarily important. So those are the only lines that you don't really have to add at this time. Okay, let's see if we got all of our lines on there. Let me move my graphite. Okay, I think we got them all, except for the rope lines, and like I said, they're not important. So he looks pretty good on there. I'll remove my line drawing. That graphite worked really well. That graphite paper was from Deco Art, and I'd never used theirs before. So that was a pleasant surprise there. All right, let's paint this guy in. Did not use that brush, so let me put it up before it gets dirty. We are going to use our round brush to outline this guy completely with black paint. So you want to have a good brush, a nice tip on it. Use whatever. I'm using a 1 round, but you could use a 2 round. You could use a 10-0 liner. Is going to take you a long time. So if you can work a 1 round, you can use that. If you don't feel comfortable outlining it with paint, you can outline it with an Identi-Pen, the fine tip part. I would not outline this area though with the Identi-Pen. Just leave it, because these two areas are going to be painted a different color. So we don't want to have that hard black line along the outside of those. But you could use an Identi-Pen to outline it. Whatever works best for you and makes it easiest for you. Okay, let's see if I can outline it. All right, start up here at his hat. It's got kind of an M indent on it. And then I have to have water in my paint. It's got to be inky consistency. All these little shapes in here, they're important. So they really need to be there. If you lose one, it's where we can see through and see the sky. So if you lose one, you can always go in and paint white and then your sky color back underneath it. So this is the tail. Okay, it's going pretty good. Okay, you notice I'm not doing the outside line there because that's going to be a different color. It's not going to be solid black out there. This is the light color on the horse's face. Okay, so now you can choose whatever brush you want to paint this guy in black. I'm going to start with this brush. I think I ended up just painting the whole thing in on my other one with this brush. And we're just going to fill in our outline area. can't see my hooves down here very well. Just fill this all in with black. I really cannot see that hoof now that I've outlined it. Make that leg a little bit fatter. More water in my paint here. Now you may or may not, depending on how thin you make your paint, have to do this a second time. Put all this black on here. Just keep going. Make sure those areas where you made those special shapes do not get painted in. And this area I can go to a bigger brush, would be helpful. So let me finish out these smaller areas. That's what I use that chisel brush for. So that area right there got way too small. I'm going to have to fix that, and I'll show you how to fix it. Okay, I'm going to go to my little bit bigger brush and fill in some of this bigger area. Using an 8 chisel, but my original I used a 6, but I could not find it. I don't know what I did with it. And it would be much better in these areas, and I think I'm going to have to apply a second coat on here because it's not covering as well as I would like it to. Go back to my small brush here. Definitely will have to do a second coat on my black. But you don't have to, when you're doing your second coat, you don't have to worry so much about where the edge is. You're mostly filling, just putting a nice light coat on there to fill in where your paint didn't get super great coverage. So let's rinse out our brushes here. While that dries, he's looking pretty good. I can remove my line down here now with some clean water or an eraser, whichever. Okay. All right, so we're going to let our black dry because I'm definitely going to have to redo that. And we're going to take some of our graphite. And I know I'll have to put this color on 2 times as well. And we're going to paint his chaps in. Or this could be his pants. I'm not really sure. I think this is his chaps. I tried to tell in the photograph exactly what it was because it was definitely lighter. color in that. That is not flowing. Okay, we'll have to do this a couple of times, and then our horse. Okay, we'll be adding our rope in with this color too, but I want to get this dry and do a really quick little second coat on here. And I'm going to show you a couple places where I got more paint than I wanted and my little detail kind of disappeared. And I'll show you how to fix that. Because we definitely want it to look like he has two legs that are hooked into two saddles. I see one I missed completely transferring on here. So I'm going to draw that in for you and tell you which one it is. This one right here. I lost that one completely, so I'm going to have to paint that in. And this one here needs to be bigger. So let me show you how to fix those. If you do that, we're going to take some white paint and we're going to paint in this area here. All of these areas are important to make it look like he is on a horse and everything is like it's supposed to be. I also want to see a little bit of some color maybe coming through the tail area. You do not have to do this part, but in my original one I could see a little bit of that purpley color showing through there. Obviously we can't see the tail over here, but we could put a little bit of reflected or highlight on it so we know it's the end of the tail, I guess. Up to you. Totally optional. I did not put that on my original one. Okay, so I'm dry here. Let's put a quick little second coat on our black, and we just need a thin layer here. So water will be your friend this time, and thin your paint down. And we're just going to fill in any places that the black didn't give excellent, thick, heavy, or not heavy, but opaque coverage. Doesn't mean I may not have to paint the whole thing. You know, I'm just kind of loosely applying a very sheer layer of paint on here. I'm not painting the whole thing again. I'm just making sure that everything is opaque. I see a lot of brush strokes, and I don't want to see all that brush stroke stuff. I want it to be more smoothed out and solid. Okay, that looks much better. Okay, so for these areas that I painted white, you can paint them white again if you want. I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to paint them in with some yellow, maybe a tiny little bit of some orange in there. I just want it to look like the sky. That's probably too much orange, so go back to my yellow. Okay, same thing over here. This is more yellow on this side, so we can keep it more yellow. A little bit of white in with that one though, so it lightens it up. Those places are just so important, so we got to make sure that they're there. And now I'm going to take my black paint and cover up any area that I need to. Okay, Actually, I need a little bit more black right through here. That needs to be a little bit thicker. There we go. Okay. And down here in the horse, I can add a little bit of that plum and white on the tail. Plum and white. And we can make that look like it's coming through the horse a little bit, the tail, and then go back to our black and even anything out or make areas smaller that we need. We just need a little bit of that peeking through, not a lot. We need to know that that is the horse's tail, and you know, maybe we can see through it a little bit. Okay. All right, let's grab our graphite and put our second coat on. How are you guys doing? Hope you're painting along. Graphite through here. I thin that just a little bit. It's looking good. We don't want to see any light between our black and our graphite. So make sure that there's nothing peeking through there. He is coming along. This was so much fun to paint. So I hope you guys are going to paint it and enjoy doing something different. Okay, so now it's really looking like something, isn't it? Okay, so I want to take this graphite here that's on my brush and make it a little bit thinner. We're going to give the look of some rope hanging down. So we're just going to make some little loops on here and give the look of some rope. Okay, it's easy as that, nothing big. Now if you want to add a little bit of highlight onto him, on my original one I did not. But on this one, I came back and added just a little bit along this shoulder and a little bit on the hat. You could put a little bit on the hand, maybe a little bit right here on this part that I forget what it's called because I'm not a horse person, so I don't know. The stirrup, there we go. So we can put a little bit of that graphite along here for a little bit of a highlight. Maybe down the arm and on the hand. Down through there. If you want. I didn't do it on my original one, so you do not have to do it. You can put a little bit. I did put a little bit on the hooves here and a little bit down the leg, so we can do that. That part's probably hitting a little bit more of the sun. Okay, so you can put a little bit on there. Let's add a shadow here with black. So we're just going to pull straight out from where the hooves are. And just come up, be a little loose with it. And, you know, maybe the horse's body is up this way. We can see it in the shadow. And we'll just loosely put some of this up here. Kind of blur it out a little bit with my finger. I don't want ridiculously hard lines here. I mean, they can be a little bit hard because it is a shadow, but yeah, don't get crazy. Don't get crazy. And then a little bit of a highlight along maybe the shadow here with the graphite. You could add a little white in there this time if you want. Not too much. Okay. A little more dabs in there if you need them. And that line is too perfect. And take some of that off. Just want a tiny little touch of a highlight on there. Do you want it to be perfect? Okay, let's put a little black back in here. Just break those lines up a little bit, where we see a little sort of reflective light on the tail. I think that is it for this one. You can come back and see if you want to add any more highlights on your bushes. But wasn't that so easy to paint, you guys? So incredibly easy. Let me move my brushes and stuff out of the way here. I always like to bring both my original and the one I just painted in and compare them. So let me turn my palette camera off. And this one. And here's the one I just painted. And here's the one I painted the other day. There we go. Now we can see them both. Pretty close. Pretty darn close, you guys. Pretty darn. I got a little bit wider path here than this one, and I apparently I put a little bit of, oh, I didn't cover up my background there, so it's a little whiter right there. So if you like that little bit lighter, then just tap a little white in at the end of your thing before you start painting your thing in. So this one, what do you guys think? Did you enjoy it? I enjoyed it. Try and get some of that paint off my hand here. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Judy. Yes, the graphite touches definitely made this, really made those areas. Yeah, and that shadow, actually, this side is my original side. So you can see how different the sky is a little bit. But, yeah. I think the graphite on there, it makes everything pop. And a lot of fun. This was so much fun. So much fun. I really enjoyed it. I like the sky. It's a little bit brighter orange, so I really like that. So thank you, Rosanna. Thank you, Fillerful. Huh, cute name. And Anne, thank you so much. I hope that you guys paint this. So I showed at the beginning what we're doing next Sunday. And it's going to be so fun. I think everyone who paints or has an art studio or, you know, just loves art in general should be doing one of these. But this is what we're doing next Sunday. Our color wheel, or my interpretation of a color wheel. This is not an exact color wheel by any means, but it's my interpretation of one, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to paint. So this will be next Sunday, you guys, 2 p.m. Central. And then in March, when I start doing my lives, I will move back 1 hour to 1 p.m. Central, and go from there. And hopefully I will be putting it live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So that's my goal. So I have a Facebook page that is Paint Along with Lonna. So you might want to go over there and follow that page if you want to watch it on Facebook, but it will be right here on YouTube too, just like normal. But I thought that might give some people who might be on Facebook a chance to quickly join us in our live class. So you guys, I thoroughly enjoyed painting this with you today. Let's get the one out that I painted today. Nope. Yep, that's the one. I really enjoyed painting this with you guys today, and I really hope you guys are going to paint it. Tag me, let me know. If you have any questions, you can always contact me. All my information is below, and feel free anytime. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. And oh, you're going to paint it tomorrow? Well, great. I hope that you will tag me on your photos, or just drop me a line, let me know, tag me on Instagram or Twitter or something if you post on there, and let me know So much fun, you guys. So I think if there's not any more questions for me about this project or the project we're going to be doing next week, the packet is up on my website for next Sunday. The color wheel. You can paint any kind of color wheel you want. You can make little triangles. You can use any colors that you want. This was my interpretation of a color wheel, so it's just colors that I just grabbed and thought, these are going to be great together. These are going to be great. So it's going to be fun, you guys. All right, I don't see any more questions popping up or anything. I thoroughly enjoyed spending my afternoon with you guys. I hope that you had a great time. Have a wonderful and blessed remainder of your day. Have a great week this week. We're going to have some warm days for 2 days and then back to the winter weather. So we're trying to get a little bit of outdoor painting done while it's warm and get caught up on that. So tomorrow we'll be painting, not necessarily in my studio, but some type of painting. So you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys next Sunday, 2 p.m. Central for the color wheel. Have a great one, everybody. Thanks so much.